The alien ship moved slowly through dark space. It was big and scary looking, with strange lights flashing on its black hull. Commander HFY stood on the bridge watching the stars. He had 4 arms and big, bug-like eyes that could see in many directions at once. "Sir, we found something," said the ship's scanner operator. His tentacles moved across the control panel like dancing snakes. "There's a ship out there. It looks dead." HFY turned his huge head toward the main screen. A small dot of metal was spinning slowly in the emptiness of space. As the image got bigger and clearer, the alien crew started to laugh and make clicking sounds with their mouths. "Look at that ugly thing," said Sub-Commander Kriva. She pointed one of her 4 arms at the screen. "It's so primitive. The humans built it like an old Earth boat. They still don't know how to make proper spaceships." The human ship was big but looked very old and broken. They could see the name painted on the side. USS Dakota. Solar panels stuck out from the sides like bent wings. Old-style guns pointed in different directions from the hull. The aliens thought these weapons were a joke because they had stopped using such simple technology hundreds of years ago. "The ship is completely dead," reported the scanner operator. "No power, no life signs. It's been floating here for about 40 years. HFY rubbed his chin with one of his hands. Human ships were hard to find in this part of space. Even though their technology was backward, sometimes the metal and parts could be useful. Plus, studying their bad designs made the aliens feel smart and superior. "Move our ship closer," he ordered. "Get a team ready to go aboard. We'll take anything valuable and add their primitive weapons to our museum." As the alien ship got closer, the crew kept making fun of the human vessel. The Dakota's armor looked heavy and clumsy. Its engines were obviously the old chemical type that most species had stopped using long ago. The communication equipment looked like it belonged in an ancient history book. The aliens saw everything wrong with human engineering. Humans always chose strength over smart design. They built things big and tough instead of elegant and efficient. The Dakota was a perfect example of how humans thought about technology. But the aliens couldn't see the real secrets hidden in the Dakota's hull. Tiny sensors were embedded in the armor, almost impossible to detect. Behind the crude-looking outer layer were advanced systems that their scanners couldn't find. The ship looked old and simple on purpose. Its true nature was hidden under a fake appearance of being outdated and worthless. Deep inside the Dakota, something began to wake up. Ancient computer programs started running as they detected the alien ship approaching. The ship's artificial intelligence had been sleeping for decades, but now it slowly began to stir. In the medical section of the ship, special sleeping chambers started to hum with activity. These hibernation pods had kept their human occupants alive for 43 years. Now revival systems began to work. Nutrient fluids started flowing through tubes. Heart stimulants activated. Brain pathways that had been frozen in chemical sleep slowly began to wake up. The pod containing Captain Jake Miller started to open. His eyes hadn't seen light since the year 2387. But now they began to flutter open as consciousness returned to his sleeping mind. Inside the Dakota, 3 other pods were also beginning their wake-up sequences. Engineer Lisa Walsh, weapons officer, Tony Garcia, and medical officer Kate Brown were all starting to return to life after their long sleep. The ship's computer, called Atlas, had been watching and waiting all these years. It had kept the crew safe while maintaining perfect hiding from any aliens who might find them. Now it was time to protect its humans from the approaching threat. As the alien boarding party prepared their equipment, they had no idea what they were about to encounter. They thought they were approaching a helpless, abandoned wreck. They couldn't have been more wrong. The USS Dakota was no ordinary human ship. It was a secret military prototype designed for the most dangerous missions. It had been built to operate deep in enemy territory, gathering intelligence and staying hidden from alien detection. But now its long mission was about to become something entirely different. The aliens who mocked human technology were about to learn why humans had earned their reputation as the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Captain Miller's fingers twitched as his nervous system fully activated. In moments he would be awake and aware of the threat approaching his ship. The alien crew of the Veltar had made a terrible mistake. They had disturbed something that should have been left alone. The old human warship was about to show them exactly how wrong they were about human capabilities. 6 alien warriors floated through space toward the Dakota. They wore thick environmental suits and carried cutting tools. Their magnetic boots clanked against the human ship's hull as they found a maintenance door to break through. Team leader, Vorth, started cutting through the airlock with his plasma torch. Bright sparks flew everywhere as the hot beam melted through the metal. "This human metal is okay for basic space travel," he said to his team, "but it's way too weak for real combat. No wonder humans have to use so many ships instead of building good ones." Inside the Dakota, Captain Miller felt his hibernation pod opening up. His muscles hurt badly after sleeping for so many years, but the medical machines had kept his body healthy. Around him, 3 other sleeping pods were starting to wake up. Their occupants. "Report," Miller said in a rough voice. He hadn't spoken in 43 years. The ship's computer atlas answered him right away. "Captain Miller, welcome back. Today is March 15th, 2430. Your mission has problems. The hull is being cut open on Deck 7. 6 enemy aliens have entered the ship." Miller's mind became sharp and focused, even though he still felt groggy from the long sleep. 43 years had passed. His mission to spy on alien space and learn about their new weapons had clearly gone wrong somehow, but right now he had to deal with the immediate danger. "What about my crew?" Engineer Lisa Walsh, Weapons Officer Tony Garcia, and Medical Officer Kate Brown are waking up now. All ship systems are working fine. The stealth hiding systems are still active. The other sleeping pods opened one by one. Lisa Walsh got out. First, as an engineer, she was naturally organized even in crisis situations. She immediately went to a wall panel and started checking the ship's systems. "Captain," she said in a calm voice despite their dangerous situation, "we're using very little power, but all the important systems are working. Whatever happened before we went to sleep, Atlas kept us hidden all this time." Tony Garcia rolled out of his pod with quick military movements. He immediately reached for the weapon storage cabinet. As the Dakota's weapons expert, he had trained for exactly this situation, waking up with enemies on board. Kate Brown, their medical officer, was already checking everyone's health with her scanners. "Everyone looks good considering we slept for so long. We should be at full strength in about 10 minutes. On their computer screens, they watched the alien boarding party walk through the ship's hallways. The aliens moved like scavengers exploring a junkyard. They made insulting comments about everything human they saw. "Look at these old-fashioned controls," one alien said. His translator device made his clicking and whistling sounds into words the humans could understand. "No brain interfaces, no living computer systems. They actually have to push physical buttons with their hands. How wasteful and slow." "Their computer systems look completely dead," said another alien. "No artificial intelligence, no automatic responses. Just broken circuits and primitive programming. The aliens were completely wrong about everything. Atlas was watching their every move, recording their conversations, and studying their equipment with sensors the aliens couldn't detect. The Dakota's systems were not primitive at all. They were just designed to look that way." "What are your orders, Captain?" Tony asked as he checked his plasma rifle's power level. Miller studied the tactical screen, watching the aliens spread out through his ship. They were treating this like a simple salvage job, not a potentially dangerous situation. They had let their guard down completely. "Let them think they're in control," he decided. "Atlas, keep watching them secretly. I want to know everything about their technology, their ship, and what they plan to do before we make our move." "Understood, Captain. Should I start charging the main weapon systems?" Miller smiled slightly. The aliens had no idea what they had stumbled into. The Dakota wasn't just any human warship. It was the prototype for humanity's most advanced stealth combat ship, designed specifically to operate deep in enemy territory. "Not yet," he replied. "Let's see what else they're willing to show us first." The alien boarding party continued exploring the ship, completely unaware they were being watched. They laughed at the primitive human technology they found. Manual, door handles, physical switches, and basic display screens all seemed hilarious to them. "These humans still use paper books for their records," one alien said, holding up a logbook. They write with primitive marking tools instead of direct neural recording. How did such a backward species ever reach space? Another alien was examining the ship's navigation equipment. Look at this ancient star chart system. They have to manually calculate jump coordinates instead of using bioneural processors. It must take them forever to go anywhere. What the aliens didn't understand was that every primitive system they mocked had been carefully designed. The manual controls couldn't be hacked by enemy computer viruses. The paper records couldn't be stolen by electronic infiltration. The basic equipment would keep working even if advanced systems failed. But the aliens were too arrogant to consider that human simplicity might actually be intelligent design. They only saw what they expected to see, an inferior species using outdated technology. Back in the hidden command center, the human crew was learning valuable information about their captors. Every word the aliens spoke was being analyzed. Every piece of equipment they carried was being studied by the ship's sensors. Their technology is more advanced than we expected, Lisa observed, pointing to detailed scans of their equipment. Those environmental suits have some kind of personal force field system we haven't seen before. But they're overconfident, Tony added. Look at how they're moving. No rear guard, no systematic search patterns. They're treating this like a museum visit, not a potentially hostile boarding. Kate was monitoring the aliens' life signs through the ship's internal sensors. Their biology is interesting. 4-chambered hearts, backup nervous systems. They're naturally tougher than humans, but that might make them slower to react to sudden changes. Miller nodded, processing all the information. His original mission had been to infiltrate alien space and gather intelligence on their new quantum weapons, technology that had been causing serious problems for human forces. Now it seemed the intelligence was coming to him instead. The aliens continued their exploration, growing more confident with each room they searched. They had no idea that every step they took was being recorded, every word analyzed, and every weakness cataloged by the humans they thought were long dead. The alien boarding party had split up to explore different parts of the ship. They felt more confident with each room they searched. Team leader Vorth was looking at what seemed like a simple chemical lab when his communication device made a crackling sound. Vorth, you need to come see this, came the voice of Scout Zektai from deeper in the ship. I found their weapon storage. These humans were carrying some kind of bullet shooters. Metal slugs, can you believe it? What's next? Sharp wooden sticks? The sound of alien laughter echoed through the Dakota's hallways, but every laugh was being carefully recorded and studied by Atlas. The artificial intelligence was building a complete profile of how the aliens talked, what made them emotional, and how their minds worked. Every moment of their mockery was giving the humans valuable information. Captain Miller and his crew had gathered in the ship's secret command center. This was a hidden room that the aliens hadn't found yet. The walls were covered with screens showing every angle of their ship. Miller was studying the intruders with the calm focus of a professional soldier. Their technology is better than our old intelligence reports said, Lisa observed. She pointed to detailed scans of their equipment on her screen. Those environmental suits have some kind of personal shield system we haven't seen before. But they're way too confident, Tony added. Look at how they're walking around. No rear guard, no careful search methods. They're acting like tourists. In a museum, not soldiers on a dangerous mission. Kate was watching the aliens' vital signs through the ship's hidden sensors. Their biology is really interesting. 4-chambered hearts, backup nerve systems, they're naturally stronger than humans, but that might make them react more slowly to sudden surprises. Miller nodded as he processed all the information. The Dakota's original mission had been to sneak into alien space and gather intelligence on their new quantum weapons. These weapons had been causing serious problems for human forces in the outer star systems. Now it seemed like the intelligence was coming to them instead. Atlas, what can you tell me about their ship? The alien vessel Veltar is a Sovereign-class battlecruiser, the AI responded in its calm electronic voice. Crew of about 340. Main weapons include 12 quantum disruption cannons, 6 plasma torpedo launchers, and a group of fighter ships. However, Captain, I'm detecting several weak points in their design. Tell me more. Their power system relies on bioneural networks that seem vulnerable to electromagnetic interference. Also, their hull armor is designed to resist energy weapons, but it shows weakness against kinetic impact weapons, specifically the type of projectile systems they've been laughing at. Tony grinned. That's ironic. One of the aliens had found the bridge and was reporting his discoveries back to his ship. Commander HFY, their control systems are laughably basic. Physical keyboards, manual navigation controls, and what looks like an actual paper logbook. These humans were practically flying blind. On the alien ship Veltar, Commander HFY was getting bored with the salvage operation. Any sign of their rumored quantum navigation systems? Negative, Commander. If they ever had such technology, it's not on this ship. This appears to be nothing more than a long-range patrol vessel with delusions of being important. Miller looked at his crew. It was time to correct some serious misunderstandings. Atlas, bring all systems online. Full operational status. Acknowledged, Captain. Starting primary power grid. Activating defensive systems. Charging main weapons array. The change was immediate and shocking. Throughout the Dakota, systems that had appeared completely dead suddenly came to life with a deep humming sound. Lights turned on, displays flickered to life, and the low vibration of a fusion reactor at full power rumbled through the hull. The alien boarding party froze as the ship around them transformed completely. Walls that had looked like crude metal plates slid back to reveal advanced sensor arrays. Ceiling panels moved away to expose weapon systems they hadn't even known were there. The primitive ship suddenly bristled with technology that made their own equipment look old-fashioned. What in the void? Team Leader Vorth began, but his words were cut off as magnetic restraints shot out from the floor and walls. The powerful magnetic fields locked the aliens in place with irresistible force. They couldn't move their arms or legs, no matter how hard they struggled. Captain Miller's voice echoed through the ship's communication system, calm and professional. Attention alien boarding party. This is Captain Jake Miller of the United Earth Starfleet vessel USS Dakota. You are now prisoners aboard a military vessel of the Terran Defense Force. Any attempt to resist will be met with appropriate countermeasures. On Yai. The Veltar. Chaos erupted as the dead human ship suddenly appeared on all their sensors as a fully operational warship. Weapon systems that hadn't shown up before were now clearly visible, and they were all pointed directly at the alien vessel, with deadly precision. Impossible, breathed Commander HFY. His four eyes were wide with shock and disbelief. Our sensors showed no active systems at all. His tactical officer's voice was strained with fear and confusion. Commander, I'm reading energy signatures. Unlike anything in our database, that vessel it's completely invisible to our primary sensor array. We can only detect it now because it wants us to. The Dakota had revealed its true nature at last. It was a stealth warship designed to operate undetected in enemy territory. It was equipped with the most advanced human military technology available. Every primitive system the aliens had mocked was actually a carefully designed part of an integrated stealth system. The manual controls couldn't be hacked by computer viruses. The simple displays couldn't be overloaded by electronic warfare. The basic equipment would keep working even if everything else failed. What looked like primitive technology was actually the most reliable and secure design possible. Miller opened a communication channel to the alien ship. His voice was calm but carried an undertone of quiet menace. Commander HFY, I believe you have some questions about human technology. The aliens were beginning to understand the true scope of their mistake. This wasn't a lucky discovery of an abandoned wreck. This was a carefully planned trap that had been waiting for them for decades. The old human warship had been pretending to be dead and helpless, but now it was fully awake and ready to show the aliens exactly why humans were considered the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Dakota's weapons were powered up and ready. Its stealth systems were operating perfectly, and its crew was eager to complete a mission that had been waiting 43 years for this moment. The aliens who had mocked human engineering were about to learn a very painful lesson about underestimating their enemies. The bridge of the alien ship Veltar was completely silent except for the nervous clicking sounds the crew made with their mouths. The only other sound was the soft whistle of recycled air moving through the vents. Commander HFY stared at The tactical display where the human vessel now appeared as a fully operational warship. Its weapon systems were locked onto his ship with frightening accuracy. "Human vessel Dakota," he transmitted, trying to sound like he was still in charge. "You are breaking the Kepler peace treaties. Release my boarding party right now." "Captain." Miller's response came through crystal clear. His voice carried the quiet confidence of someone who held all the advantages. "Commander, the Kepler treaties were signed 47 years ago. Quite a lot has changed since then. Your boarding party invaded the sovereign territory of a Terran Defense Force vessel. Under current laws, that means you have committed an act of war." On the Dakota, the human crew was working with practiced military efficiency. Lisa Walsh had taken her position at the engineering station. She was monitoring the ship's stealth systems and power distribution. Tony Garcia was at weapons control. His displays showed target locks on every critical system aboard the alien vessel. Kate Brown was working with Atlas to analyze their prisoners and gather biological intelligence on alien physiology. "Captain," Lisa reported in a calm voice, "stealth systems are operating at full efficiency. Their sensors still can't get accurate readings on our hull design or weapon systems. As far as they know, we could have any kind of weapons aboard this ship." Miller nodded. The Dakota's greatest weapon had always been uncertainty. Let the enemy wonder what humanity was truly capable of doing. "Atlas, what's the status of our uninvited guests?" "The 6 alien boarders are secured in holding cells. Their equipment has been taken away for analysis. Initial scans show several technological advances that would be very interesting to Terran Defense Intelligence." Through the communication, Channel Commander Zexhai could hear the casual efficiency in the human voices. These weren't panicked survivors from a broken ship. They were a trained military crew operating at full capacity with deadly precision. "What do you want, human?" he finally asked. "Information," Miller replied simply. "Your ship's database contains intelligence on alien military capabilities that my government would find very valuable. You're going to give it to us." "Never." The Empire does not negotiate with inferior species." Tony Garcia looked up from his weapons console with a cheerful expression. "Captain, I've identified the best targeting solutions for their ship. Their bio-neural power grid has 17 critical connection points. If we hit just 3 of them with kinetic rounds, their entire vessel will be dead in space." Miller kept his voice conversational as he responded to the alien commander. "You see, Commander, you've made a fundamental error in judgment. You assume that because our technology looks different from yours, it must be worse. But human engineering follows a different philosophy entirely." On his tactical display, Miller could see the alien ship powering up its weapon systems. Their quantum disruption cannons were powerful weapons against most vessels, but the Dakota had been specifically designed to counter them. "Your weapons rely on quantum field manipulation," Miller continued in an educational tone. "Very elegant, very efficient against conventional targets. Unfortunately for you, our hull plating incorporates quantum dampening fields. Your primary weapons will be significantly less effective against us." "Impossible," Zexhai muttered, but his confidence was clearly shaken. "Atlas, give them a demonstration." The Dakota's point defense systems activated, filling the space around the ship with a shimmering field of quantum static. When the aliens fired a test shot with one of their smaller disruption weapons, the energy beam simply broke apart harmlessly against the field. "Our turn," Tony announced with obvious enjoyment. The Dakota's kinetic weapon system engaged with a sound like rolling thunder. Instead of energy beams, the human ship fired solid projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic fields. The primitive metal slugs struck the alien vessel's energy-resistant armor and punched through it like it was made of paper. The impact sent shock waves through the Veltar. Emergency lights turned on as atmospheric breaches triggered safety protocols. The shots had been precisely targeted, causing damage but not killing anyone. It was a clear demonstration of what the humans could really do. "Your armor is designed to scatter energy weapons," Miller explained calmly. "It's not particularly effective against kinetic impact. That's the problem with assuming your technology is the only correct approach to solving a problem." Commander Zexhai was beginning to understand the true scope of his mistake. The human vessel wasn't just more advanced than it appeared. It had been specifically designed to counter alien technology. This wasn't a chance meeting with a broken ship. This was a trap that had been decades in the making. "You've been in our territory for over 40 years, he said, as the pieces fell into place. "Gathering intelligence, observing your technological development and preparing countermeasures," Miller confirmed. "The Dakota is the prototype for an entire class of vessels designed specifically to operate in alien space. Your Empire's expansion into human territory has not gone unnoticed or unanswered." Kate Brown looked up from her medical station. "Captain, analysis of the prisoners shows that alien physiology has several exploitable weaknesses. Their backup, nervous systems make them resistant to most forms of mental attack, but they're extremely vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies. Noted. Add that to the intelligence package for Defense Command." The communication channel crackled, as Commander Zexhai realized his position was completely hopeless. His ship was damaged, his boarding party captured, and he was facing a human vessel that had been specifically designed to neutralize every advantage his species possessed. "What are your terms?" he asked quietly. Miller smiled with satisfaction. "You're going to send a complete copy of your ship's database to us. Then you're going to return to alien space and deliver a message to your superiors. Tell them that humanity has been watching, learning, and preparing. Tell them that our primitive technology has been specifically designed to counter every advance they've made. And if I refuse?" Tony Garcia's voice was cheerful as he answered from the weapons station. "Then we'll take your database anyway, and your ship will join the collection of broken vessels drifting in this system. Your choice, Commander." The silence stretched for long moments before Zexhai's response came through. "Transmitting database. Now." As data flowed from the alien vessel to the Dakota's computers, Atlas processed and stored 47 years' worth of technological development, military specifications, and strategic intelligence. The information would revolutionize human defensive capabilities. "Captain," Lisa reported, "we're receiving detailed specifications on quantum disruption technology, bio-neural computing systems, and what appears to be plans for a new class of super-heavy warships." Miller nodded with deep satisfaction. The Dakota's mission was finally complete after 4 decades of waiting. "Commander Zexhai, you may retrieve your boarding party and leave. But remember, every alien vessel that enters human space from now on will be facing technology specifically designed to counter your advantages. The age of easy expansion is over." As the Veltar limped away from the encounter, its crew shocked and demoralized, word of the encounter began to spread through alien military networks. The humans weren't the primitive species they had believed. They were patient, methodical, and far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. On the Dakota, Captain Miller stood on his bridge and looked out at the stars. 47 years of waiting had finally paid off. Humanity's message was now spreading through alien space. Underestimate humans at your own peril. The old relic had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.